I always thought a camping trip in the deep woods would be an adventure, a chance to reconnect with nature and my friends. But as we arrived at the campsite, nestled among towering pines and shrouded in a thick mist, I felt an unsettling chill crawl down my spine. Little did we know the woods had secrets darker than our fears. The sun dipped below the horizon and we gathered around the crackling fire, trading ghost stories and urban legends about Bigfoot. The flames flickered, casting eerie shadows on our faces. Laughter masked our anxiety as I noticed the trees swaying, though there was no wind. I dismissed it as my imagination, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching us. As night enveloped the forest, strange sounds began to echo around us. Deep growls, the snapping of twigs, and distant haunting howls that sent shivers through our bones. I glanced at my friends, their expressions shifting from amusement to concern. "It's just wildlife," the skeptic laughed, but even he couldn't ignore the oppressive silence that fell over us, as if the woods themselves were holding their breath. It was then that we discovered the footprints, massive five-toed impressions leading away from our campsite. Fear coiled in my stomach as I realized these tracks were too large for any bear. Something primal stirred within me, urging us to leave, but curiosity held us captive. As we debated what to do, I felt it. A cold breath of air against my neck, and the unmistakable sensation of being watched. That night, we heard a rustling outside our tents. I sat up, heart racing, straining to listen. One of our friends, Jake, decided to check it out. We begged him not to go alone, but he shrugged us off, grabbing his flashlight. "I'll be right back," he called, his voice fading into the darkness. Minutes turned into hours and panic settled in. "Where is he?" I whispered, the shadows around us growing denser. Just as we were about to search for him, we heard a blood-curdling scream that froze the blood in our veins. It was Jake. We scrambled out of our tents, flashlights trembling in our hands. "Jake!" we shouted, but our voices were swallowed by the night. We searched frantically, but all we found was his backpack, overturned, its contents strewn across the forest floor. "Maybe he's playing a prank," the skeptic said, though his voice wavered. But I could see the fear etched on his face, mirrored in the others. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed through the trees, followed by a low growl that sent chills racing down my spine. My instinct screamed at me to run, but fear kept us rooted to the spot. Then we saw it, a hulking figure moving silently through the trees, a mass of darkness framed by the moonlight. It stood at least 8 feet tall, covered in matted fur, its eyes glinting like molten gold as it locked onto us. The creature seemed to breathe in the night, its massive chest heaving as it stepped closer, branches snapping beneath its weight. "Run!" I shouted, adrenaline pumping through my veins. We took off in different directions, the sound of heavy footsteps crashing behind us. I felt the ground tremble as I ran, heart pounding like a war drum, each breath a battle against sheer terror. I stumbled through the underbrush, branches tearing at my clothes, the cold grip of panic threatening to consume me. The woods were alive, the shadows dancing with malevolence, whispering secrets I was not meant to know. I could hear my friends' screams fading, swallowed by the darkness. Alone and desperate, I ducked behind a massive tree, praying for concealment. My heart raced as I pressed my back against the rough bark, straining to hear. The growling was closer now, a deep rumble that seemed to vibrate through my bones. I was not just being hunted, I was prey. As the creature leaned down, I felt a surge of rage and fear collide within me. "Get away from him," I screamed, my voice echoing through the trees. The creature paused, its golden eyes locking onto mine, and for a fleeting moment I felt an unsettling connection, an understanding of the primal fear that binds us all. But then it lunged, and instinct kicked in. I grabbed a fallen branch, swinging it with all my might. I struck its side, and the creature roared, a sound that shattered the night. But it was too strong. It swiped at me, knocking me to the ground. I could feel its hot breath as it loomed over me, a creature of nightmares, ready to claim its prize. In that instant, I remembered the tales, the stories of those who survived. I had to confront it, to face the darkness. Summoning every ounce of courage, I shouted, "I will not let you take me. I refuse to be afraid." The creature hesitated, the growl subsiding. It stepped back, as if caught off guard by my defiance. I seized the moment, dragging Jake away from its reach, pulling him into the underbrush. We stumbled through the trees, the sounds of the forest closing in around us until we finally broke free into the moonlit clearing. Exhausted and trembling, I collapsed beside him. We weren't safe yet, but we had escaped the grasp of death, at least for now. As dawn broke, the shadows retreated, leaving us breathless and scarred. But as I looked back at the forest, I saw it. A flicker of movement, the outline of the creature watching us from the shadows, reminding me that some things in the dark never truly disappear. We had survived, but the memory of that night would haunt us forever. A reminder that the forest holds secrets far darker than we could ever understand. If you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe for more original horror stories. And as always, thank you for watching.